Welcome into Locked On Phillies. In today's episode, Uniform Gate across Major League Baseball and how it will almost certainly affect the Philadelphia Phillies. It's time for Locked On Phillies.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I am your host, Connor Thomas. Been talking Phillies baseball for years over on 97.5 The Fanatic on the radio. Happy to be here with you as your host of Locked On Phillies. I want to thank you for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every single day. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. Okay, Uniform Gate. What does it mean? This is some news that's been floating around for a while, but I haven't really gotten a chance to dive into it yet because I wanted to cover the Josh Harrison signing, had a couple other things planned content-wise. But now, let's dive into it because it's something that's frankly annoying me quite a bit, and it is absolutely, I know I said it'll probably, in my open, affect the Philadelphia Phillies. It's absolutely going to affect the Philadelphia Phillies, and I think it's dumb. I really do think it's dumb. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, the Major League Baseball official jersey provider is Nike. Sorry, Nike provides the jerseys for all of the Major League Baseball teams, and Nike has decided that they want to institute a new rule to streamline the amount of jerseys and the process of creating jerseys for Major League Baseball teams. So under the new rule, baseball teams across Major League Baseball are going to have to limit themselves to 4 jerseys. So, hey, the Philadelphia Phillies, they're going to have to cut down one. 4 jerseys means that one of these options are gone. So here are the jerseys that the Philadelphia Phillies wore back in 2022. So they have, of course, the white jersey, red pinstripes that they wear at home. They're gray away jerseys. Those are both going to stay. They have to, like they're normal. Well, they don't have to. They can get rid of any of these, but those will likely stay. Those are their normal ones. Then they have the cream jerseys that I love. You know the cream jerseys, type of tan-looking ones. The powder blue throwbacks, which is my favorite of the 4. And then for getaway day games, they were wearing the red, the solid red, not like the red pinstripes, but the completely red top jerseys with gray pants. So that's 5 different jersey combinations. They're going to have to cut one of those out, which is frankly annoying. I like all those uniforms. They're all nice uniforms. I don't understand why Nike, who's so big time, like the biggest sportswear company on the planet, now all of a sudden can't produce multiple uniforms. I mean, I look at the NBA, and they've got all these city edition, this, that, and the other thing the next year. Football's always been weird. They've always had a limited number of uniforms, and it's always bothered the fan base because it's dumb. Just produce more. You're a major league sport. You're a professional sport, one of the biggest in the world. The revenue is incredible. Nike has all the capabilities of doing this. Just produce more jerseys. And there are some teams that are going to have that wear 6 or even 7 different types of variations of their jerseys with throwbacks and everything like that. Yeah, that's going to be hugely cut down. Now, there are some teams that don't even wear 4 that are going to be perfectly fine, but the Philadelphia Phillies have 5. So now they're forced with cutting one down. And you could see the death of a jersey entirely that you might have. The powder blues could be gone forever. Those red top, gray pant, getaway look, it could never be seen again. I mean, I assume at some point something will change in the rules down the line. I'm not even saying like next year. I'm saying like a decade or 2 decades. Like you never know how stuff is going to change, but this is a pretty set in stone rule for the 2023 Major League Baseball season. I don't get it. Like, I understand you'd have to produce more jerseys, but the upside is, guess what? Little 12-year-old Timmy living over in, I don't know, Mount Laurel, New Jersey, we'll just say. Just pick a random town. He's going to want Bryce Harper's jersey in powder blue and red pinstripes and cream and solid red and gray and everything in between, and a batting practice T-shirt and a spring training jersey and all of this stuff. And now Major League Baseball is basically restricting the amount of revenue they can make on alternate jerseys. I see plenty of solid red top jerseys. I see plenty of gray jerseys at Philadelphia Phillies games. I see jerseys in different kinds. I see the creams out there. I see a lot of the powder blues. Why would you cut down a source of revenue for your organization by just restricting the number of jerseys that you can have? I don't understand it. I know there's people high up at Nike and high up in Major League Baseball that are making this decision. I just think it's annoying to a fan base that's going to have to lose one of their favorite uniforms. Like, someone out there is not going to be able to watch one of their favorite Major League Baseball teams' jerseys being used this year. And we talk all the time about baseball not doing well with their social media, not doing well with their bringing in the younger generation, not doing well with their marketing of the game in general, and all this stuff that makes baseball unwatchable for young athletes and young fans who could be getting into the game but won't. And yeah, Major League Baseball, out of all of the top sports currently in North America, we're looking at the NHL, the NBA, the NFL, and Major League Baseball. I think they do it the worst. I think even hockey does it better than them. And the only reason hockey's lower is because the amount of participation among youth players is so much lower than the other sports. It'll always be number 4. But this is just another thing. Kids like cool jerseys and cool alternate jerseys and everything like that, and new ones every year and different type of alternates. Restricting that is restricting the growth of the game. Think about, for me, growing up, one of the coolest things that I saw, and I was in late high school, early college, I think, when this was going on. But if you remember, do you remember the Oregon Ducks men's football team, the NCAA football team out there on the West Coast? They used to have a different jersey every damn week. All kinds of neon colors and this, that, and the other thing. And they looked fast and they played fast. And you couldn't wear something neon without someone's making a comment about Oregon. They owned that, and they had a bunch of different helmet combinations and colors, and it was cool, and kids liked that, and they wanted to go to Oregon, and they wanted to play for Chip Kelly out there before he came here and ruined the Philadelphia Eagles, and they wanted to do all this fun stuff with that team and school, and of course, Nike's based out there, because they had all those cool Nike uniforms that looked flashy and new and exciting. Baseball is the sport of old and boring, and when you restrict the amount of uniforms a team can wear, you turn it more into the sport of old and boring. It might seem like a minor thing, but this is just proof positive of the flaws of the people who make decisions surrounding the game of baseball. Some of the new rules they have this year are interesting. The pitch clock, the pickoff count, the bigger bases, all that stuff, banning the shift, I think are all good things. But man, just some of the decisions Major League Baseball makes seem to be spitting in their own face of they're trying to grow the game. So let's go, though, to the important question. Of the 5 Philadelphia Phillies uniforms, which one are you getting rid of? You got options. I mean, your options are the powder blue, the red pinstripe on white, the grays, the solid reds, and the cream jerseys. I don't know that for me it's as tough of a call as it could be for other people. You got to have the red pinstripes on the white. That's the vintage Philadelphia Phillies uniform that we've had forever. That's got to stay. The powder blues, I love them. They're the greatest throwback in Philadelphia sports, and those have to stay as well. The creams I really do like. I want to keep the creams as the alternate, and I guess that means you got to go with the gray as the road jersey, and the solid reds are probably the one I would do away with, because to me they've always looked more like a spring training uniform than an actual one you should wear throughout the Major League Baseball season. I have no major issue with them, but if I'm looking at the rest, I feel more attached to the gray unis, the red pinstripes, the powder blues, and the cream than I've ever felt to like those solid red tops. But the nice thing about the reds, losing those, and I always think about like the younger generation when you do this. You don't want to be showing up to a game with a jersey that doesn't look like the jersey the players are wearing. And a lot of families, they can't afford like the actual bona fide real jerseys. So you get the jersey, right? The red t-shirt with the number on the back and the player's name. And it's the t-shirt. Doesn't have like the buttons or anything in the front. And that always looked like the red getaway tops. The red, solid red jerseys look just like the jersey. So I imagine there's young kids out there who family couldn't afford the nicer jersey to see that. And they're like, oh, today they're wearing the jersey that I've got on. You get rid of the red, they don't do that. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm looking too far into this, but this just seems like another unnecessary regulation around baseball. And yeah, it bothers me. I'll tell you what, it bothers me. You can't help what bothers you, and this bothers me. But that's enough uniform talk. Coming up next, we'll get back more into Philadelphia Phillies talk and some thoughts ahead of training camp with the current roster and possible needed improvements. We'll discuss coming up as we continue Locked On Phillies. All right, I want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel because this year the only app you need at your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. We're so excited about our new sports betting partner for Locked On because they're the #1 sportsbook in America. Come on, it's FanDuel. You've heard of FanDuel, and if you're new to FanDuel, I don't even know how it's possible you could be new to FanDuel at this point because so many people use it. I've been using them for years. They're awesome. But if you are, it's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. You download the FanDuel app now. You can bet the Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. It's awesome. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. There's all kind of fun props. It's the Super Bowl. You know, you got Gatorade color, over-under on the anthem, the coin toss, all this fun. They got all kinds of fun prop bets over there on FanDuel. Check it out. And the FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/LockedOn to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, let's jump into talking a little bit of roster work. I know I still owe you guys the episode talking about an outfielder that the Philadelphia Phillies could target to fill that in. But is that the only spot that the Philadelphia Phillies really are missing somebody? Let's run through the current 40-man, and we'll discuss if there's any other weak spots. So let's start with the pitchers. You got on the 40-man currently Jose Alvarado, Andrew Bellotti, Connor Brogdon, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Bailey Falter, Craig Kimbrell, Junior Marte. Forgot about him coming over from San Francisco. James MacArthur, Nick Nelson, Aaron Nola, Luis Ortiz, Michael Plasmeyer, Christopher Sanchez, Gregory Soto, Matt Strahm, Ranger Suarez, Eric Ullman, Andrew Vasquez, Taijuan Walker, and Zach Wheeler. I know it's a lot of names. Here's basically what you need to know. They're nasty. They got everyone you could ever need pitching-wise. Short of Andrew Painter getting called up and placed on the 40-man, he'd have to be placed on the 40-man to do that. And there is room on the 40-man to be able to make Andrew Painter work. I don't really see any other additions to the 40-man pitching-wise. They got what you need. You got strong starters. You got a great bullpen, lefties, righties, everything. Your top guys, as I go through the list, Alvarado, Dominguez, Soto, Nola, Suarez, and Wheeler are really your horse guys, your top of the line guys. But like Taijuan Walker is a nice depth piece. Scrolling through. Craig Kimbrell, obviously a nice depth piece. Bailey Falter has been proven at points. Bellotti, Brogdon, both pitched as you went through the postseason last year. The pitchers are in really, really good shape with the 40-man. Catcher's currently on the 40-man. You got JT Realmuto, who obviously is going to be your starter, best catcher in baseball. You have Garrett Stubbs, who's going to be his backup. Rafael Marchand is on the 40-man. He'll be in Lehigh, no doubt. You have him in case there's any type of injury, but it'll be Realmuto. It'll be Stubbs. Stubbs was really darn good last year, backing up JT Realmuto. So feel very comfortable with him as a backup, and JT plays like every day anyway. So you're fine there. Stubbs is a good option. JT is a great option. Catchers are great. No movement is going to happen with those guys. Let's look at the infielders because you have the newest addition here with the infield. Current infielders on the 40-man are Alec Bohm, Cody Clemens, Derek Hall, Josh Harrison, Rhys Hoskins, Edmundo Sosa, Bryson Stott, and Trey Turner. Of those guys, I'd imagine all of them are on the Major League roster come opening day, besides Cody Clemens. I think Clemens is going to end up in Lehigh Valley, but Bohm's going to be your starting third baseman. Derek Hall, you know what? Derek Hall could be down as well. With Bryce Harper injured, he might take that final spot on opening day's roster to be a designated hitter and a backup option at first base, but we know Realmuto can be a backup option at first base and everything there. Derek Hall will be interesting. I do think he's on the opening day roster, but then you have Josh Harrison, who I believe will be with the Major League team for sure. Rhys Hoskins, your starting first baseman. Edmundo Sosa will be your utility guy besides Josh Harrison. Bryson Stott will start at second. Trey Turner will start at short. Perfectly fine there. So everything looks good with the infielders. The only guys that could not be with the team at the Major League level, Clemens and Hall. And I think Hall might sneak in there. And then we get to the outfielders. And we have a lot of interesting options here. I'm going to kind of do a little preview to my next episode, which will be the aforementioned outfielder episode. I promise. We'll go through the ones available. We will discuss because there is some need here for the Philadelphia Phillies at the outfield positions. Nick Castellanos, Dalton Guthrie, Brandon Marsh, Simon Muzziotti, Jalen Ortiz, Johan Rojas, Kyle Schwarber, and Jake Cobbin. These are the guys, Jake Cave, however you want to pronounce it. I pronounce it both ways because I think it's funny to flip it up and scare people. But you look at it, and you have three major league guys that you can really trust to start a game for you. Castellanos will start in right, Brandon Marsh will start in center, and Kyle Schwarber will start in left. Outside of that, I don't know you feel comfortable with playing a major role on this team. Guthrie, I haven't seen enough from him. My boy Jake Cave, I haven't seen enough from him. He's had probably more experience than Guthrie, but I don't know how he fits in as like an everyday replacement guy. Everyday replacement is oxymoronic, but you know what I mean. As a guy that if Nick Castellanos gets hurt is going to have to play for you every day, I don't really trust him like that. Muzziotti is not ready. Jalen Ortiz and Johan Rojas are both interesting. Both minor league outfielders that have a little bit of potential. Big dudes, too. Ortiz is 6'3", 215. Rojas is not as heavy, but he's 6'1", 165. Man's light. Got to put on some weight a little bit. But those are some guys that you look at as possible candidates to maybe make the major league roster if they're not going to make another signing or a trade somewhere or anything like that. Kyle Schwarber down there as well. Kyle Schwarber will start in left, so we know he's set. But right now I see three lock major league players out of the outfielders that are currently on the 40-man. And see, like you could take Muzziotti off if you went ahead and you signed an outfielder, a free agent outfielder. You could take Ortiz or Rojas off and then add them at a later time. If you added an outfielder, you could take one of the pitchers off. Like you'll be fine on the 40-man with the ability to move players around. But I just, I don't. And Bryce Harper is currently listed here as a designated hitter on the 40-man, the only guy in the designated hitter spot. Of course, he's not available until he gets done with his Tommy John rehab, but Harper, that's your MVP level guy. He's not going anywhere. It's just very clear. The outfield is the spot where there's not a lot of depth. The starters are great, and when Harper comes back, you will have that depth because he'll be able to play in the outfield at some point this year, and then you can DH Schwarber, and then Schwarber can play for days off for guys. So the depth is coming. Maybe that means that they'll stick with somebody currently on the 40-man and Guthrie will get the job or something like that. I don't know. I feel like there's one more move coming as far as an outfield signing, but maybe they feel more comfortable with those young players than we do. With spring training right around the corner, we'll find out sooner rather than later. Coming up as we wrap up Locked On Phillies, want to do a little off the poll. Yes, off the poll. We haven't done it in a minute. A little poll question on Twitter. I'll explain what the poll is coming up, and I'll put it out. I know you're saying it's the middle of the week. No, this is important. So let me go ahead and get right back with you, and we'll do off the poll as we wrap up. All right, yes, time for off the poll. Okay, what it is I'm going to post a poll question on Twitter. You can go to our Twitter account at LO_Phillies, and you can go ahead and jump in, tell me what you think on this. And we already talked about what our off the poll question is going to be today. I need to know what's going to happen with the Philadelphia Phillies jerseys. Which of the four that are not your main home uniform? So I'm eliminating the red pinstripes on white. That's absolutely going to stay. It's like the vintage Philadelphia Phillies uniform. It's their home jersey. That's going to be there. But of the remaining four, which again are the powder blues, the cream, the gray away jerseys, and the all red getaway day jerseys, which one would you eliminate if you were tasked with choosing a jersey to get rid of for the 2023 Philadelphia Phillies? I have a feeling the powder, well, no, you know what? No. See, I haven't done off the poll in a minute, and I missed the point of what I do. I don't tell you my thoughts ahead of it because I don't want to poison the well. I don't want to bias you into, oh, Connor made a good point about this. I agree with him. Let's do it. No, I want to know what your unbiased thoughts are on the jerseys outside of the red pinstripes on white, and which one you would eliminate because of the dumb new Nike rule that you can only have 4 jerseys per team this season for the 2023 baseball season. So go ahead and let me know on Twitter, LO_Phillies. The poll will be up, and we will discuss at the end of tomorrow's episode or the next episode. I believe I'll be able to get one in tomorrow, but if not, it'll be Thursday, and we can go ahead and discuss it then about what jersey you guys chose and whether or not I agree with you. So it'll be fun. That's all for today's Locked On Phillies. I want to thank you for making Locked On Phillies your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB Prospects. Lindsey Crosby does a great job over there. This is the prospect time of the year. You're figuring out who's getting spring training invites, who's going to make an impact at big league camp. Go ahead and check out Locked On MLB Prospects. Lindsey's got the best information on the planet for you. It's such a great listen. Available wherever you get your podcast, YouTube, Odyssey app, just like we are here on Locked On Phillies. And make sure you're rating, reviewing, and subscribing for Locked On Phillies. Subscribe to that YouTube. Help me out. I appreciate it. It helps me out significantly. It helps you out significantly because you get content right away. You get that notification immediately when I post new stuff. And it's very simple to do. It doesn't cost you a darn thing. Just press a button. All of a sudden, subscribe to Locked On Phillies. So you know the drill, and I appreciate the continued support. That's all for today's episode. Now we'll talk to you all in the next episode of Locked On Phillies.